But we begin with what President Trump says about what went down in those rooms where the European leaders just yesterday and Ukraine's president discussed how to end the war in Ukraine. Mr. Trump talked about that during a Fox News interview this very morning, and this is a little bit of what he had to say.
So they're not going to be a part of NATO, but we've got the European nations, and they'll front-load it, and they'll have some of them, France and Germany, a couple of them, UK. They want to have, boots on the ground. I don't think it's going to be a problem, to be honest with you. I think Putin is tired of it. I think they're all tired of it. But you never know. We're going to find out about President Putin in the next couple of weeks, that I can tell you. And we're going to see where it all goes. It's possible that he doesn't want to make a deal.
What kind of assurances do you feel like you have that going forward and, past this Trump administration, it won't be American boots on the ground defending that border?
Well, you have my assurance, I'm president.
Okay, so let's go live to White House and CBS News reporter Taurean Small. Taurean, how significant would these security guarantees be for Ukraine?
Well, the NATO's Secretary General Mark Rutte was here yesterday talking to Fox News, but also gaggled with the press, and he said that this would be in lieu of NATO membership. He made it clear that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, did not want Ukraine to be entered into NATO, even though there were quite a few European allies pushing for that. So their idea is to create this concept of Article 5 security guarantees. What that basically specifies is that any member attacked a part of NATO essentially would mean every membership involved in NATO is under attack, so they would all come in to help their ally. This concept of that Article 5 would involve, according to the Secretary General, about 30 countries coming together to ensure the security and safety of Ukraine moving forward. What's tricky about this, though, is this pseudo-membership could cause pause for Putin as he goes into the next negotiation, this one seemingly being with Zelenskyy and himself. But ultimately, though, it was Putin's wishes that he did not want Ukraine being in that membership. So this security guarantee is something that they're still looking to hash out. But as of now, it appears that that is the track that they're headed.
Well, and it seems like there's a little bit of a timeline here if what the president says on Fox News is to hold, and that is, he said, President Putin will see what he's going to do in the next 2 weeks. There are concerns that really cast a shadow over the meeting that could happen or maybe even not happen between President Putin, President Zelenskyy, and President Trump, and that is the fact that Russia has tried to assassinate Zelenskyy multiple times. A meeting between Putin and Zelenskyy is not just as easy as saying, okay, let's do it and let's make it happen.
Yeah, Zelenskyy went into his meeting at the White House yesterday with quite a bit of skepticism over whether or not Putin was taking this seriously. He even called out the fact that as they were meeting, Russia had just struck Ukraine. So he's saying that he does not believe that there is sincerity behind Putin's words that he wants to strike a peace deal with Ukraine anytime soon. But to that point, yesterday during the multilateral meeting with European leaders, when asked about whether or not the next meeting should be a bilateral between Ukraine and Russia, Zelenskyy asked outright Donald Trump to be a part of that to ensure his safety. Especially like you brought up, Putin at several times has made attempts to assassinate Zelenskyy, so he believes that with the help of the United States, not only would he be ensured some type of security during their meeting, but the productiveness of that meeting could also be ensured because the United States is also a stakeholder in this.
Taurean Small, live at the White House today. Thank you so much, my friend. So let's continue this conversation, bringing in senior fellow at the Middle East Institute, Iulia Joja. She focuses on Europe and the Black Sea security issues. What were your takes about yesterday's meeting?
Thanks for having me. It's great to be with you, Reen. Well, it's a premiere in either the first or the second term of the Trump administration that we've had so many European leaders at the White House. And in this instance, they were holding they were holding strong in favor of Ukraine, supporting Ukraine, showing solidarity, and most importantly, to reel in any possible further concessions that the President of the United States could give to Russia. This meeting from the Europeans or with the Europeans at the White House came, as we all know, in the aftermath of the Alaska summit on Friday, that left Europeans very, very concerned about the steps that President Trump has made, at least rhetorically, back from threatening with serious consequences, with sanctions, etc., to a fantastic meeting, as he characterized it, and to leaving for now sanctions and further military aid off the table for Ukraine. And so this was an important meeting for the Europeans to show solidarity with Ukraine and to insist or push back for the necessity of a ceasefire, for the stopping of killing Ukrainian civilians by Russia every night, and for ironing out what will turn out to be hopefully security guarantees for Ukraine.
Well, there are two words paired together that no matter what treatment you read on this story, no matter what news organization is providing it, that you're reading a lot these days, and that's land swap. That topic keeps coming up. But I really had to step back and ask myself, what does that mean? You know, by definition, land swap means we're swapping one for the other, right? So we know that Russia holds on to Ukrainian territory. We know that the president has said that a land swap could be a part of this deal. What we don't know is what Russia would have to give up if that definition of land swap holds true, right?
Yeah, I'm afraid that at this point we might be from here, from Washington and from the White House, copy pasting Russian sneaky language. Right? You're right. A land swap is not the right term for this. It is concessions, and it would be land for peace, which is a formula that we've had ample experiences with here in the United States when it comes to Europe, and of course Europeans primarily. And it's never a good formula. Peace or land for peace will not work in this instance neither, because anybody who thinks that if we just give Russia Crimea, if we just give them the Donbass, they will stop. But the last 10, 12 years have showed that that's not the case. And the Kremlin is telling us almost every day that their aims are not a small piece of land of Ukraine, but their aims are revisionist, they're imperial. They consider that the end of the Cold War was the biggest tragedy of the 20th century. And so it's extremely dangerous to go into this equation, and it would undermine international law, territorial integrity, and you could have cases in Europe and elsewhere around the world where countries suddenly claim that because they're stronger, they want this territory or that territory back, which at some point was under their command, but is not anymore. So it's important to stay away from so-called land swaps.
Iulia Joja, thank you so much for bringing your expertise to CBS News 24/7. We hope to have you back very soon.